salah satu daripada sebab kejayaan di sukan C di Korat ialah pendekatan baru yang dibuat oleh MSN dengan kewujudan ISN sebagai sebuah institusi sendiri. Dan saya berjumpa dengan ketua-ketua jawatan, berbincang berkenaan dengan isu-isu yang berhadapan dengan ISN. Dan saya melihat perlunya kita menaik taraf bahagian kajian research dan melihat equipment yang telah dipakai guna oleh situs sekarang. Jadi strategi sekarang tu ialah untuk mewujudkan serampang dua mata, pendekatan yang sama di peringkat sukan akar bumi dengan wujudan program talent identification yang dipanggil tunas gemilang perlu dinaikkan taraf, dan juga dalam aspek sukan hilir tu keperluan kepakaran. Saya berbincang dengan Datuk Dr. Ramlan berkenaan dengan kegunaan pakar-pakar sains sukan dan sukan perubatan oleh setiap persatuan, sama ada kepakaran itu diguna sepenuh masa atau tidak. Dan juga dibincangkan berkenaan dengan kejurulatihan, di mana banyak jurulatih-jurulatih yang dilantik oleh persatuan tidak melalui kualiti pencarian lembaga kejurulatihan Malaysia. Jadi the appointment are usually direct by the association. Jadi dalam aspek ini saya akan bincang dengan MSN bahawa apa-apa peruntukan yang kita nak turunkan mesti mengambil kira kejurulatihan yang telah kita berikan pengakuan, dan keduanya kita mahu melihat kegunaan sains sukan, kepakaran sains sukan dalam setiap persatuan. Therefore bajet setiap persatuan tu akan kita tetapkan untuk jurulatih dan kegunaan sains sukan dan sukan perubatan, maknanya sports science, sports medicine and appointment of coaches by MSN must take into account the budget expenses percentage must be for this. We do not want association bila kita turunkan peruntukan duit dia guna untuk suka dia lah, dia tidak ada pecahan, there is no breakdown on their requirement. Persatuan untuk sama-sama membiayai kos sains sukan, sports medicine dan juga. So they must be also having some responsibility for such costing. It cannot be just our cost that is being subsidized by them. You understand where I'm coming from? It looks as if that the application of sports science and sports medicine is dependable on the association, whims and fancies. Jadi we want a permanent program on this. Okay, soalan lain?
So how do you plan on implementing this? I mean, is there going to be a wage structure for foreign coaches?
I think I'm going to call Zul shortly. We have to really discuss that. The coaching board complains is the fact that appointment are very much direct appointment, and they claim that MSN agrees to the appointment without checking with the coaching board. But I believe that there could be some miscommunication. But whatever said and done, we take into account the expertise of the association in who they want. But we would require that the coaches they appoint must be endorsed by the Director General of ISN and MSN. I do not want them to appoint coaches without the endorsement of both the Director Generals. So we want the coaches that they employ are coaches that come up to the performance that we want. And we also want to check on the background of the coaches they employ. If the coaches do not perform, they should go. That's what we should do. We cannot be employing a person just because we like them. No, we must employ a person based on their ability to give us the results that we want. And that also applies to the scientists that ISN employs. Dia tidak boleh employ sesuka hati. Kalau dia ada KPI performance, the scientists ada dia tidak perform, they have to go. Tapi rata-rata, I've been informed that there are lack of scientists, there are lack of sports medical doctors, and association are sharing them. Therefore, we have to look at whether we can negotiate with association that we can help them on such employment, and there can maybe be a joint cost between association and government. Tapi dia tak cukup lah. Sport scientist dan sport medicine memang tak cukup. ISN pun maklumkan saya, mereka memerlukan banyak bantuan di segi kewangan, dan mereka memerlukan pelantikan, perlu kata orang, kalau boleh kita nak semua persatuan mempunyai services ni sendiri, then we can complement.
Why exactly did this come up? Why did the coaching board bring this up?
I think the issue with the coaching board is of course, I mean, everywhere you go, the coaching board in the act doesn't give it the teething power. The coaching board basically registers, evaluate from the academic side. I believe that I want to see the coaching board to have more teething. I raised many times about schools having registered coaches. This is also the strategy. I believe that the coaching board is very important for grassroots development. We don't have enough coaches or registered coaches. We may have problems on coming up with proper athletes. Sports science and sports medicine come along the way, but for development, ISN has two development angle, which is the three development angle. One is the talent identification unit, two is the national coaching board, and three is the research. I've asked them to go aggressive on the research.
There could be a problem. Associations, let's say they get the coaches,
True,
they pay for it. Then they're thinking, why should we?
Yeah, but who gave the association the money? I mentioned this many times. The issue is this: if the coaches are considered national coaches, the coaches must be able to come up with a system. Number one, they must be very flexible and acceptable to sports science. We don't want any coaches that come in and reject sports science. I mean, they can work in other countries that don't want to apply sports science, but as long as you are in Malaysia, if ISN says this is a certain requirement we want you to respond. But we do get some response telling us that the association rejects sports science. That is why, for our performance in Goran, some associations do very, very well because they are very sensitive to our sports science requests. And these are very good associations. But there are some associations who believe that they are able to, they believe on their own instinct. And to be fair, I believe that most of our local coaches are very, very slow on sports science. They always say that, I've heard this before, that we have already resulted from experience, why do we need sports science? So they're very slow on sports science. But I'm not being punitive, I'm just being very persuasive. So I hope that, I'm going to call Zul shortly to just find out a system that we can tighten the control on the appointment.
Some of the badminton coaches, they're actually the elite coaches. I don't think they have certification. They do not have the level of certification you would expect to be handling, say, Olympic players. But it will be the old school of thought, I'm doing well, my players are doing well. Why do I need this? How do you plan on changing that?
Well, I believe that there must be a persuasion on the association that whether you like it or not, the association also have got a development team. So this application that we are applying, all these new changes that we are doing is gradual changes. But whether you like it or not, this government must be a government that goes on quality performance and accountability. If appointments are just not based on experience, they still must be accountable. Right, but when it comes to responsibility, suddenly they turn around and say, look, I didn't know this and I didn't know that, and I believe that that's not the case. But we are quite flexible in the sense of there are certain appointment of flexibility where based on experience, there are certain appointment based on qualification. But for the government, we believe that there must be a certain standard of conduct. Are you saying to me that if you are appointed based on experience, so you don't need to refer to sports science? I mean, that's not true. I mean, every country that becomes top countries in the world for the Olympic Games, if you refer, every association refers to sports science and sports medicine. I mean, it's ironic to say that it is not important. If such coaches say that, then I believe that they should not be with us. But again, we take into account their experience. But for the government, we look into three angles: sport science, sport medicine, and coaching. So it must be a combination. One cannot live without the other. So we want a more tripartite relationship. They must work together. I believe the MSN is very open to this idea.